Hello everyone and let us start this session now. Friends, welcome to our series of knowledge sharing session. This side Montu Verma and I am a procurement expert. Friends, first of all I am very thankful to all of you for being with us today. Guys, today we are continuing our knowledge sharing journey together. With due respect of our earlier speakers, I want to move forward to start this session with a tagline: the more you connect, the more you grow. Ladies and gentlemen, today it is very special day for us as we are going to have a very insightful and effective session on cost control of raw material and foreign exchange. So today we have Kaushal Kanpara. He is head of procurement in Teeth Agro Technology Private Limited. He is ex Moto and ex AMW and having very strong background in strategic procurement or sourcing, right? Currently he is heading multiple business category and fortunately we meet on LinkedIn. Hello Kaushal.
Very good afternoon, Montu.
Have I said everything correct?
Yes,
Good afternoon.
you have said everything correct, and
So
thank you
Kaushal,
very much for your
right.
yeah.
Before we start this session, please let us know that how you get into procurement. I mean, how you start your journey procurement, and after that, curious to listen your insight or perspective on cost control. Please, Kaushal, say something about you.
Hello, hello,
Yes, Kaushal, you are
hello.
audible.
I am audible now, Montu.
Yes, you are audible.
My screen is visible to you or not?
Yes, pretty much clear.
All right, fine. That PPT which I have shared with you is visible.
Right.
All right, fine. Okay. A very warm good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for being part of this session today. Although Montu has given my introduction to all of you, I would like to add a few things and about my past work experience with all of you guys. I am having total work experience of nearly 10 years in automobile industry as of now. So started my career with a heavy commercial vehicle, a company called AMW Motors Limited. It was part of SR Group. Then I moved with Hero MotoCorp, the world leader two-wheeler manufacturing company. Then I started my career with Shaktiman Agro, or better known as Tirth Agro Technology. This company is into farm equipment manufacturing, and the company is world leader in rotavator and agri implements manufacturing. Over here I am heading the entire strategic sourcing and purchasing function. So throughout my career I am associated with automobile and core manufacturing companies only. I would like to thank each and every one of you who are participating in this today's session, and I hope with today's session I will be able to put you more insight upon the raw material statistics and raw material price and cost management, as well as about foreign exchange. Since this is a webinar, so in the initial 15 minutes I will be carrying the entire presentation. But what I want from each one of you is participation at the end of presentation from each one of you. So whatever will be the question answer, I will not only answer your question, but at the same time I need some inputs, or at the interaction upon the particular field or interaction upon the particular subject from each one of you. That will be more appreciable. I hope I will be able to fulfill what all you are expecting from the subject and today's discussion. So shall we start, Montuji?
Yes, please move forward.
Okay. So this is the title of today's presentation: cost control in raw material and foreign exchange. Now let us understand why raw material. What is raw material? Whenever, since we all are purchasing guy, we are daily, we need to justify prices of any direct or indirect material with our suppliers as well as with our organization or with our employer. So universally, for any component, any services, or even any direct material or indirect material, there are three main cost parameters. First is raw material cost, second is conversion cost, or we call it manufacturing it as a process cost also, and third one is the administrative cost. Administrative cost includes your profits, overhead, packing cost, transportation cost, and XYZ. Why we are today in today's lecture, why we are focusing purely on raw material prices is we do have different references available for raw material prices. So which raw material prices is to be followed in which circumstances and in which kind of market or in which kind of purchasing process you are dealing, that is more important. So this my particular lecture will be focused on raw material prices for ferrous as well as non-ferrous commodities, metals, non-metals, right? And as I explained in this particular slide, the three main, yesterday I have seen in WhatsApp group plenty of, a few of juniors were requesting for their insight into costing methodology. So whenever you want to adopt any costing methodology, you want to finalize the cost of any particular product. So these three are the main pillars. You must remember, in any of the interview, in any of your future forum wherein you need to showcase your skill towards costing, you need to remember these three cost parameters. One is raw material cost, second is conversion cost, and third is the administrative cost. It is applicable for product as well as services both, and it is universal formula. So let us move further with the raw material. What is raw material? Raw material is actually input, any input which we are getting to get the final manufactured component or the ultimate product. Raw material can be metal as well as non-metal. Raw material can be a consumable item. Here what we are going to talk is usually in industry, manufacturing industry, or in electronic industry, or in electrical industry, or in construction industry. What we are going to use, those material are maybe steel bar, aluminum, copper, or even plastic granules. So these are the raw material upon which your supplier or your service provider is going to carry n number of processes, and at the end of all those processes, you will finally get a particular output in terms of your component or your product or your services, right? Let us move further with the raw material. Now, these particular raw materials are having certain benchmark prices. If you go with supplier A, he will say X rates. If you go with supplier Y, he will say delta rates. This is the most important thing. Another most important thing is plenty of us are dealing with the mass production or the bunches segment. Like for every year or every 2 years or every 3 years, you are going to buy same thing, same component, same raw material for I think 5 quarters, 7 quarter or 10 quarter. At that time, how will you incorporate the fluctuation of raw material prices into your final component prices? That is very important. So today's lecture will be more focused upon to how to compensate or how to replicate raw material prices into your costing sheet or your costing parameter. A very important aspect of all the ferrous and non-ferrous raw material costing parameter is LME. LME is, friends, it is known as London Metal Exchange. London Metal Exchange is, as its name indicates, it's situated in London, and it was established in 1877. So it is nearly 130 years old organization. I can say it is, rather than organization, it is a metal exchange forum and metal pricing forum, upon which the bidders or the players from across the globe, they bids for the market prices, and the market prices gets derived from the London Metal Exchange. Here what I have showcased is for an example. This is all data, this all are graphs, and all the latest prices are available on the London Metal Exchange website. So here it is the price graph of aluminium of last 1 year, from beginning of mid of June last year, 10 June 2019 till end of the June of this year. These prices, whatever the prices are mentioned, it is per metric ton US dollars per metric ton, $1,400 per metric ton to $1,900 per metric ton. As you can see, the prices were getting up and down throughout the year for at least 3 quarters till the February 2020, and after February 2020 you all have seen the sharp decline, which is all thanks to this year's COVID pandemic, and after that it is again shaking and rising at somewhat level. So this is the aluminium historical graph, which is available for our buyers reference or the traders reference on London Metal Exchange website. What London Metal Exchange does is, it is for the morning as per GMT 0 and London time, it operates from 11:30 to nearly 13:40. For nearly 2 hours it operates in the London, and from that all the trading hours and all the orders bidded by people or traders across the globe, London Metal Exchange prices are decided. From those prices, any Indian OEM or any Indian steel or commodity manufacturer decides their own prices. Like London Metal Exchange aluminium prices are getting reflected in Hindalco prices or Nalco prices in India. Hindalco and Nalco, these both are the major aluminium manufacturer in India. Based upon their prices, based upon Hindalco and Nalco quoted prices, they are subsequently passing these prices to their distributor, to their dealers, and from this distributor and dealers channel, as an OEM or as a customer, our employer or any manufacturing firm decides their prices. So for a reference it was LME, for the reference it was aluminium only. Going further, in London Metal Exchange, apart from aluminium, plenty of other commodities are getting also traded. Like for non-ferrous, it is aluminium, Nasdaq or any special aluminium alloys. Copper prices are also available, zinc, nickel, lead, tin, those prices are also available. As well as for ferrous metal, steel rebar, means steel bar, steel scrap, and HRC steel sheet. All the commodities prices are available on LME, as well as historical data you can also track. Now, based upon those prices, what happens? Any steel manufacturer, copper manufacturer, or aluminium manufacturer derives their prices in India, and upon their prices or upon their ex-works prices, upon the ex-works prices of Tata Steel or POSCO Steel, we are converting it into FOR prices of our plant or our manufacturing site. To add, LME is not only reference in the market available with us. Other references are also there, like Argus. Argus is the business house which is situated in London, which is into research of metal commodities. It is also a 50-year-old organization and very much renowned and very much appreciated by the global buyers who are situated across the globe. As well as for India, there are 2 main parameters also. CRISIL is also publishing time to time upon a particular duration, upon particular commodities. They are also reflecting time to time their price reports. And of course CM, that is Society of Indian Automotive Manufacturing. I will glad to share you that whatever the steel prices we are referring in the market, they are depending upon 2 major parameters in India. First, what I said as per the LME rate, and second is purchase price of the 2 OEM in India, that is Maruti and another one is Tata Motors. At whatever rate the Tata Motors and the Maruti, because these 2 are the highest consumer of steel in India. Whatever the price is, Maruti Suzuki India Limited and Tata Motors Limited, they both are purchasing from steel manufacturers or steel mills. they are getting reference prices for all OEMs and all traders and all dealers in India. So apart from LME prices, we can take references from CM Networking also, that is Society of Indian Automotive Manufacturers. So these prices are also available from up to a certain level on CM level, as well as if any of our friends or known colleague are working in either of these market leader OEM, then we can definitely get those prices, that what is the current trend. Now these are the, whatever I have explained, these are the absolute figures in terms of US dollars per metric ton. Now definitely when we are doing costing or pricing of any particular product, we can refer these prices as well, but how this entire graph or how this journey is actually more helpful to an individual buyer is, let me give an example. At the beginning of lockdown, say at the end of the March month, suppose the aluminum prices were nearly at 1,700 USD per metric ton. That becomes 1.7 kg USD per kg. 1.7. That becomes 1.7 US dollar per kg. When we resumed our business operations at that time, at the last week of May month, the prices were nearly at 1450 US dollar per metric ton. It means 1.45 USD. So what we should aim as a buyer is from per kg 1.7 USD to per kg 1.45 USD. So net 25 cent reduction has been noted in LME prices. So what we should demand, or what as a purchaser our aim should be, to buy aluminium at per kg rate at 0.25 cent negative prices from earlier purchases. So this track record is should be aligned upon the past purchasing as well as future purchasing. So friends, these were the raw material prices upon which I have discussed a few commodities which are frequently getting used in our manufacturing industry or our purchasing industry. Apart from this, there are, I think, plastics as well. Plastic was getting traded in London Metal Exchange up till 1992. From 1992 onwards, since the LME is purely into metal exchange and plastic is a petroleum product, so that trading has been stopped due to various reasons in LME references. So what we do in India for plastic, any grade like nylon or PP or any XYZ, ABS and all these grades, we are getting reference prices of OEM, like OEM of raw material grade manufacturer like Reliance and LG. We are getting reference prices of those raw material prices from these OEM. Reliance and LG, they are having, Reliance is at least having their latest price sheet available upon their website, their trading website as well. And for LG, similarly, their reference prices are available. And after that, if your dealer or distributor he claims 4% or 5% or 10% of profit margin, that is pretty much agreed, because Reliance Journey or the Reliance plastic product prices are pretty much open in market and they are easily accessible to each and every buyer and all the companies. Now coming towards the foreign exchange part, we are frequent in this global year. We are frequently, as a buyer, used to import a few components or any few raw material from various part of the globe. And before this pandemic situation, India was a huge customer for manufacturing goods from China, apart from Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, as well as a few European countries as well. So we are having frequently. We need to frequently trade the foreign exchange. And so what is the authorized foreign exchange forum apart from Google? Yes, what is the authorized foreign exchange forum which diverts or which indicates the foreign exchange rate? So there are two foreign exchange forum available for us to take reference of any prices. The first screenshot which you are able to see upon your screen is from RBI, Reserve Bank of India. RBI is the leading or most approved, or you can say most significant indicator of what cost is going on for which foreign currency, where they are showing you GBP, it is British pound, as well as yen, Japanese yen, US dollars, as well as Chinese yen and euro. So all the five major currency, you are capable enough to see the reference prices upon RBI website. As you can see, the everyday RBI indicates everyday prices except the weekend or the holidays upon which the normal trading does not happen. And before a few years, RBI has actually stopped the publishing their currency data. That is why you are able to see year 2015. But in recent terms, RBI has approved another company named Financial Benchmark India Private Limited, better known as FBIL, Financial Benchmark India Private Limited. They have started publishing their exchange rate in up to four decimal places. So what I have mentioned here is the latest July 2020 as well as June 2020 US dollars prices, that how it is moving. Even a movement up to 0.0001 is getting noticed here in these foreign exchanges. So when at the end of the day you are sitting at such a position when even a single USD impact of foreign exchange gives a huge impact to your entire buying portfolio, at that time you need to track such a reference prices available of foreign exchange across the India. So this was the foreign exchange part. On the similar way, on the FBIL website, you are also having British pound, Japanese yen, US dollars, as well as euro prices available on foreign exchange. Now, how to use part? So we do, as a buyer, we do not need to track only absolute prices, that what is the, whether X or delta X or X point something is price for any particular commodity or any particular foreign exchange rate. So how we need to focus, as I said, we must be having some particular purchase history in the past, or we are having some purchase history, or we need to release a few orders in future as well. So what we need to do is, or what we need to focus is, suppose my last month purchase order for steel prices was at rupees 45 per kg for any particular component. Then at this year, at this particular month, how I will move in place of 45, whether it will be 44.5 or 45.5. That depends upon the movement of London Metal Exchange. So this is the reference which we better use, which we should use as an individual customer. Second is conversion rate, like whatever the delta was available in the prices of London Metal Exchange in terms of USD, similar must get reflected in our purchasing history or in our purchasing prices in Indian rupees. Like for quarter one, suppose your aluminum prices were at 100 rupees per kg. So whatever the aluminum prices average were there, it was for quarter one, that you will reflect in quarter two prices. That usually happens in automobile industry. Like quarter one trading prices, we give purchase order to our suppliers for quarter two. Now at the end of the quarter two, we are having purchase history or the trading history of quarter two prices. So for quarter three, we will replicate the prices of quarter two in quarter three purchase order. Similarly, during quarter three, we are having purchase history or the international trading references available. That prices we will implement in quarter four. So what happens? This entire cycle runs 3 months late. What is the prices of today in London Metal Exchange reflects in my purchasing history after 3 months. So at the end of the day, it is a win-win situation. It is neither wrong for your supplier as well as not for you as a customer. I would like to mention that plenty of RM grades, raw material grades, like if you speak about the steel grades, EN8 or EN8D, these are the usually available grades in India, because at least more than 50% of steel mills are making it, and frequently making it, and widely available across the market from distributor to dealer as well as steel manufacturer. but a few grades which are special according to their application. Like for gears and shaft, we need SAE 8620, which is high carbon steel, which are usually not available in market at throwaway prices or in throwaway quantity. So whenever you require any such special grades, you need to deviate or fluctuate from your expectation as a buyer, and whatever the market demands or whatever the trader demands, sometimes you need to surrender. So for raw material prices, for different raw material grades, LME prices are reference prices only. So for different raw material grades, if you need any special grade or your product or your design or your engineering specification demands for any special raw material grades, you may not be capable enough or to carry special applicable special prices of raw material available with us. Similarly, whatever I explained for plastic trading and other commodities, LME does not indicates any prices. London Metal Exchange does not indicates any prices. So for that, you need to refer the market leader prices. So friends, this was all from my side. Now the entire forum is available for question answer, or you can share your inputs and thoughts, and better if we can interact, or you can share your any further expectation which you think it should get covered in this lecture, but somehow it has not been. Then you may share. I will try to answer it or try to cover it in the any subsequent lectures, or I will try to answer your queries through WhatsApp or Telegram. Over to you now, Mantu.
Thank you so much, Kaushal. Really great insights from your side. So I will allow to our audience to ask any question if they have in case.
Hi Kaushal, this is Kush Patel, this side.
Hello, Kush.
How are you?
I'm fine. Yes.
Yeah, pretty good to see the knowledge you have about this metal industry. I have one hypothetical question about this LME. So the LME sets the index price of steel.
Yes, as I mentioned, if you go through, I will request Manu, Wantu to share this after our lecture is over. If you go towards the my presentation part and sixth number of slide or probably fifth number of slide, there are ferrous as well as non-ferrous. Both grades are available. Both commodities are available. In ferrous, yes, various type of steel scrap, HRC, as well as steel rebar. These three categories are available in ferrous metal, which index prices are getting reflected in LME.
Okay, and this index is applicable for Asia Pacific, or it is for across
actually, Kush, it is open across the globe. What happens here is any big trader, whether it is from Latin America or from Australia or from Japan, every manufacturer or every steel mill governs their prices based upon LME references. Because LME is the biggest exchange for any metal commodity or ferrous or non-ferrous commodities. So LME for POSCO Korea, they are having also reference prices which are getting from London Metal Exchange as well as Tata Steel. They are also deriving their prices from London Metal Exchange only. Through London Metal Exchange, they come to know that what is the future potential for buying. So based upon that, they are deciding their today's prices. If you want to quote for your August 2020 buying upon London Metal Exchange, you can quote as a trader over there. So what happens if suppose you and other traders have quoted at very high prices in August 2020. So eventually LME prices also move towards the positive side, and the steel prices goes up in any particular region or the specific area. And of course, if there won't be any demand like what we have seen in the pandemic scenario of last 3-4 months, at that time prices crash equally. Hope it satisfies your query, question.
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Rangarajan.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, actually, there are two grades you told, no, in India, in steel market.
Right, sir.
Two grades are contributing more than 50% of the total requirement. So, what are the EN8 and the other one?
It is more or less similar, sir. EN8D. Both are one and equal. EN8 and EN8D. These two are slightly better in terms of specification or engineering. These two are slightly better in terms of engineering property and their specification than mild steel or MS grade. So it is fastest moving grade I have seen in the automobile or manufacturing industry.
So medium carbon steel, huh?
Yes, sir. Carbon percentage is nearly from 0.35 to 0.4. So nearly 0.4% is the carbon. Medium carbon steel, exactly, sir.
Okay, this financial benchmark of Benchmark India Private Limited is all now. Or is there any link that you can share so that
Sorry, sir. Can you please share what is your question related to FIBL?
Website or web link for financial benchmark? Or directly you can go into the website.
Yeah, you can directly access the website as well. And just to add, since RBI has approved the FBIL prices, so FBIL link is also available on RBI website, sir. Reserve Bank of India has also approved this reference prices. So these prices link are also available in the RBI website.
Directly you can get it from the website. There is no
Yes, sir. There is no separate subscription or any any other than login ID or password is required. It is accessible and available for each and every buyer or everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. Welcome.
So, Kaushal, I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
Kaushal, is there any most important point what we should consider while negotiating or while benchmarking the price of raw material? What is most important benchmark point? I would like to listen from you.
In the most simplest way, if I put Monto ji, one should always stick to the LME traded prices of last month average. This should be demand as an individual buyer from their service provider. I think that is the best way if I follow my past career of the 5 years. What happens, the LME prices depends upon the next 2 or 3 months of scenario. So if suppose at the today's date on 12th of July I need to release my purchase order or I need to sign off raw material cost with my supplier, I must go through the June as well as mid-July's prices, and whatever the average or the cumulative sign comes out of those LME prices, I should quote or I should demand only these prices. And as I said, apart from the LME, I can get the reference of LME as well as apart from that, what the movement has been during the last 1 month from steel mill prices. The steel mill prices, as I explained, it depends pretty much upon the Maruti Suzuki's buying prices as well as Tata Motors buying prices. So these steel mill prices are also becomes references for us.
Right, so it is very important to keep us updated on raw material or foreign exchange price to negotiate or to...
Very true, Montoji. Very true, because since the date I came into automobile sector, it was a pretty big surprise for me that only 2 brand names derives the steel prices across the India. Only 2 brand names derives the steel prices of across India. So when you are having a good context and what you are having a good terms with the raw material sale of either of these 2 companies or the purchaser of these 2 companies, you definitely get to know that at what prices the maximum transaction of India happens. So these 2 are being major customers, so they are the key deriving factor. And definitely as an individual purchaser, if we are having context in these 2 OEMs, that we can directly replicate, or if we at least quote at what prices trading is going on between Maruti Suzuki India Limited and POSCO India, that will be a definitely huge benchmark upon which normal trader or normal dealer works.
Yeah, hi Kaushal sir.
Hello.
Can you listen me?
Yeah, sure.
I have a query that how will I get the price of secondary aluminium? Means ATC 12, LM6, LM9.
Okay. These all are aluminum alloys, right? Whether it is A7072, LM6, LM9. So all these prices are available in London Metal Exchange. There are at least 4 raw material grades of aluminium which are getting traded in aluminium, including NASCO. NASCO is what is it is North American Aluminium Contract System, or they are having North American, as per North American technical standard, there is a special grade. So all these different grades you can have aluminium reference prices from LME prices. Just to add, what happens during LM6 and LM9, plenty of time what happens, your foundry service provider, they are also preparing upon their own LM6 and LM9 grades, right?
Yes,
Am I
yes.
correct?
Yes.
What happens at the time, you need to have, apart from being buyer or the commercial advanced person, you need to have in-depth knowledge of chemical composition of all these grades. Like in LM6, what is the percentage of aluminium? Even what is it will, apart from aluminium, all the composition will be in quite small portion, whether it is copper or steel or any XYZ grade. But you need to have good command upon, correct, yes, silicon as well. You need to have very good command upon what is the chemical composition or what is the formula to mix aluminium with other metal. So based upon those formulas knowledge, you can definitely crack his prices. And once you are able to crack what he is doing on shop floor, or what is his business know-how, if you can attack upon your or you can actually you can demand upon your supplier at that time, supplier will also respect your demand, and as a person, and as well as a buyer. So rather than just being relaxed upon his quote, or rather than just comparing two suppliers' quote, it will be great if we get in-depth knowledge of different raw material grades, that how it is getting manufactured, whether it is readily available from any of the steel mill or any of the distributor, or any my foundry person or the craftsman person is chemically mixing it. So this knowledge is also equally important, I guess.
Okay.
Is it satisfies your query?
Yes, almost.
Thank you very much.
Hi Kaushal, Kush again.
Yeah, Kush, very most welcome.
Yeah, if we buy mass, I would say bulk steel from, if we importing bulk steel from, let's say China or Japan or any other country, the PO would be on fixed price basis or lump sum basis, since two components are uncontrollable.
Can you please repeat your question? Whenever we are importing raw material, at that time, what is your question?
The PO amount
Yeah.
is on fixed price basis, or it's on lump sum basis?
No, it must be on fixed basis. It is on fixed basis only, because what happens after whenever you put any purchase order in China or Japan, after you are getting delivery after 15 days to 30 days, depends upon how efficient or lean your logistic is. So at that time, probably it will happen that while coming at your end, steel prices may have inflated to 2%, 5% or 7%. So what happens in these conditions, it depends purely upon more, I can say it depends upon the buyer as well as the seller. But usually whatever the deals are happen is because if you are importing the material, you must have paid him at least 10% or 50% of advance, right? Especially in raw material. So what is happening, the day of purchase order agreement or the day of agreement, whatever the prices are there, those prices are generally getting paid in terms of advance, and the remaining balance advance is also as per the traded prices of traded day, not as per the delivery date. This is what usually happens at the international deals, which happens at OE and steel mill level.
So is there any tolerance clause in standard terms and condition?
Yes, there are some tolerances, or the span of negotiation is also available upon the standard condition. What happens plenty of time that steel mill also is not sure what will happen after 1 month. Prices can reasonably go up to higher side, like this particular scenario is full of up and down. in last 6 months we have seen the all-time low prices, as well as the prices are again started climbing up. At that time, what happens? Plenty of buyer expects that he needs to pay at least 50%, or plenty of companies also expect that he will pay 50% as on today's prices, and balance 50% he will pay after 1 month or as on delivery date. So yes, depends upon deal. Some conditions are also available with steel mill, but more than I think 80% of the cases, what the steel mill as well as the OE customer does is they follows the price as on the dealing date or the purchase order agreement date only.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, Kaushal. Jed, this side. Hello.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, first of all, it's really thanks to you for this beautiful insight and great valuable things. So, just adding to your point last, which you have give the answer to the push, I just want to add one more thing. There is also one process we generally do the hedging. Like for example, we know the trend, and with the historical data, the company also do the hedging of the raw material. Like for example, if we see the aluminum at the lowest price of the year, and we are expecting the increase in the aluminum price in coming months, so we do the hedging also.
Yes, very true. It will be great, Jay, since hedging is the more terminology which is getting frequently used in exchange forums. So
yeah.
OEMs as a professional I have never used hedging, so it will be great for myself as well as the team who is connected as on date. If you can in 2 minutes you can give some insight upon hedging, it will add more values. Even I don't know much more methoding or the methodology to derive the hedging formula. Can you please just elaborate it in 2-3 quick minutes?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just take the example of aluminum. For example, the aluminum in the month of March is approximately 1200 per metric ton. This is only the example. I'm taking the figures, and with respect to the trend as a purchaser, we know that every quarterly how the aluminum will move, and with respect to the market condition. So, and we are the regular buyer of the aluminum product. So we have the deals and discussion with our supplier that okay, this is this price we fix for the entire coming year, and please you book the aluminum for us. In that case, there is a proper documentation and involvement of finance team as well. So in that case, what happens? There is some particular charges of hedging, like it's a 2% or 3% charges, which company takes, and in the transaction it takes, and entirely they will book the aluminum for the entire year, so that our price for the entire year for the aluminum will be this 1200 metric ton per metric ton. Either if it's increase or decrease, we will not change the price of our raw material aluminum. It's like a pre-booking of the aluminum for entire year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jay. Good insight related to hedging.
So, Jay, Kush here.
Yeah.
So you mean to say if you freeze if you lock the price in month of January for aluminum, so it will be same throughout the year, right?
Yeah, but that is a proper documentation and agreement also, and there is a hedging charges also, in which bank and everything includes in that. So every company, and there is a proper documentation in this.
But at the end of the day, the invoicing amount would be same, or it may vary on.
See, the thing is that this all raw material prices which we are discussing, these are the references for us on our costing sheet. Okay, we never buy the raw material as in a raw form. We take, for example, if you get manufacturing some component in your end, okay, you are getting the aluminum sheets. Okay, so that there is a conversion cost between the aluminum sheet and the raw aluminum. So in your costing sheet, if you did the hedging, so that your raw material price of aluminum will be remain same, and you will need to put your PO on that basis only. Okay, might be it's a possibility that conversion rate is fixed, or it may be changed with respect to your forex rate, but your raw material price will be remain same for the entire year.
So baseline will remain same.
Yeah.
The invoicing amount may vary based on these factors, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to add upon this, Kush, Jay, I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. This hedging is also dependent upon the business commitment.
Yes.
I cannot directly hedge any prices unless and until I am having some business commitment that by this year, by this time duration, I will buy this number of ton or this number of kg of particular commodity or particular raw material. So again, a volume is also a very big contributor to this hedging deal, I think.
I agree. Even I would like to add over here, the volume plays a very big role in the any costing, because we can play based on volume on our conversion cost as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Kaushalji, one more question.
Yes, please.
What is preferable currency to buy this steel raw material?
At any day for any foreign exchange, USD is the most preferred, being two reasons. If you see across the globe, out of 190 or 200 countries, out of which main trade or main dealing and execution.
Sorry, I lost you.
Fine, no issue. Out of the the preferable currency will always be US dollar, because if you go through the historical data, US dollar is the least fluctuated currency. Least fluctuated in terms of every day or every quarter or every week, fluctuation is pretty limited in US dollar. While if you compare the graph of euro or the pound, fluctuation is more. So US dollar is the most preferred. This is the first reason why is fluctuation and stability in foreign currency. And second big reason is the US dollar is widely accepted. In probably there may be a few countries which never accept Japanese yen or the euro, but none of the country, even Japan or any country out of European Union, each and every country will accept US dollar. So US dollar is the most trusted and least fluctuated currency. That's why major of the dealings happens in India in US dollar only.
Hi, Kaushal. This is Anish.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Kaushal. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of the entire group for the inspiring speech which you gave, the presentation which you gave today. Right? It is actually very, very obvious that you are extremely knowledgeable in this field, and I can link that very clearly from the presentation which you have given. I used to purchase the raw materials around 11 to 12 years back, and this was almost like a refresher. There are a lot of new concepts which have come up, but thanks for this refresher sort of presentation. I would request one thing on behalf of the entire group. I think this presentation with few more added concepts which Jay and Kush touched upon on hedging or on the other aspects. Let's repeat this at some future date, as and when Montu and the schedule allows. Let's have a repeat session at some future date. It will be good to have other people also as and when the group grows. But overall, I'm really very happy from the way the presentation has happened. Thanks a lot, Kaushal.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your insight and appreciation. And your suggestion is noted, and I will request Montu to deploy it.
Right, Kaushalji, as Shailesh mentioned, you very correctly answered all the queries from our listeners. Fantastic, Kaushal. Before we move close to end of this session, please share your contact detail with our listeners so that they can connect with you in case they have any other queries or questions from your side.
Actually, this is most important.
Sure, Kush, definitely.
And I will also attach the session note and recording of this session on social media like LinkedIn and YouTube for our listeners. So dear all, I also want to share one more interesting information with you. Probably next weekend one of our group member will share his or her experience on SAP Ariba, and we will confirm you very soon. So that will be another exciting session. Kaushal, thank you so much for these out of the box insights what we heard from you, and it is biggest one. We really enjoyed it. A very powerful approach to control the cost of raw material, and I can say the took away for us is to keep updated ourselves on category what we are managing, right? Kaushal, thank
Very
you
true.
for being with us, and also thanks a ton to our listener for their patience and time. Hope they really enjoyed today's session, and in case any suggestion or any feedback, please feel free to talk to me directly, indirectly, anytime. Most welcome. And thank you so much, and happy learning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Montu and everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very
Bye.
much for your
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.